Please welcome Partner Program Manager for Azure Incubations, Donovan Brown. Welcome, Donovan.
Hi, how are you?
Doing great. Awesome. So I know you're heavily involved with the dev community. Do you mind just talking a little bit more about your role that you're wearing today? I know you wear a lot of hats.
Yeah, I'm currently on the incubations team under Mark Razinovich for Azure. So if you're thinking about what's going to be next in the world of microservices and cloud-based development, that's what our team is trying to do. So if you're familiar with CADA, that came from our team. If you're familiar with Dapper, that also came from our team. So we're really excited because we got to announce Dapper in space at this event, and it's just amazing to be able to work in a team where we're looking at what's going to be in the future and trying to make sure that we make the world for the developers just as easy as we possibly can going forward.
Awesome. We really appreciate that, I bet, from our audience perspective. In your previous session, you talked about Dependabot. Can you talk to me a little bit how this will help teams speed up their development?
Absolutely. So Dependabot is a feature inside of the GitHub Advanced Security. And what it allows us to do is monitor our dependencies. What I mean by dependencies is to speed us up as developers, we're going to go and find a package that already does what it is that we need done so that we don't have to rewrite that code over and over again. Problem is the more dependencies that you get, each one of them could potentially have an update that you need for a security vulnerability, a patch, new features. And keeping up to date with that can be really a challenge. And what Dependabot will do is it will actually look at my code and say, hey, looks like you're using this particular version of a project or a package. There's a new version of that. And you really want it because there happens to be a security vulnerability or a bug you really want to fix. And instead of me having to stop what I'm doing as a developer, going and downloading it, trying to update my package.json or whatever manifest I'm using to list all my dependencies and then check that code back into a pull request, Dependabot does all that for me. It says, hey, I know what package you need. I'm going to download the latest version. I'm going to update all the manifests that you need. I'm going to submit you a pull request. At that point, it can run through all of our gates and our builds and our tests to make sure it's good. And then I get a notification saying, hey, there's a new pull request that's already fixed this problem for you. And all I have to do is click one button and it just merges it into my code. And then we're off to the races again. So it's a great way to keep all your dependencies up to date, because otherwise it would just be a taxing event that a developer would have to do. And that at that point, we're no longer adding value. We're just sitting here maintaining all of our dependencies.
Yeah, so it's great that it's automatically reviewed. The dependencies are revolved, but this can't be where security ends, right? Like, there must be some other.
I wish that was where security ended, but it's not. There's so many things that we do as developers that sometimes just get ourselves in trouble. I always joke that if you've been developing for more than a day, you've probably done what I'm about to describe. You needed to test something, you needed a connection string or password, so you just scribbled it in your code real quick so that you could test to make sure that it works. And you're so excited when you see it work that you just check the code into the repository, and there goes the secret into the history forever. And that's a bad thing, because if a bad actor sees that secret, they might be able to use that to exploit another portion of your infrastructure, or you might use the same password in multiple places, and now they have a way in. And then even trying to clean up your history once you identify that can really be a problem. So what we do is we have security scanning, a secret scanning, that will actually scan your entire repository looking for secrets and make sure that if there are any that have slipped into your repository, that we can go back in and help you clean that up. But what's even cooler than that is that we now have a feature called push protection, which will stop the secrets from getting in there in the first place. So I made that careless mistake. I'm excited. I try to push my code. And on my local machine, it'll say, hey, Donovan, there's something that looks like a password in your code that you're trying to push to a repository that would be really hard to fix later. Did you really mean to do this? And sometimes the secret might be in test code, and it's completely okay for me to check that in because it's not really a password, but I needed it to look like a password for my testing. And I can say it's false positive, that's just for testing, or it might be saving my butt, right? Because no one wants to be that developer, the developer that puts your entire company at risk because you accidentally checked in a secret. And push protection now says, hey, I'm not even gonna let you push this code. You're never gonna have to worry about that getting into that repository. I got your back right now, and you're able to fix it really quickly, which is great.
I love that, because you always say you have to start secure and stay secure, right?
You nailed it, exactly.
Any other new features that you would want to talk about, especially from this proactive versus reactive state? Anything there?
Yeah, we also have some really cool stuff when it comes to Codeql, which is a technology that allows you to think of your entire code base as a database and then be able to run queries across that data to figure out, do I have SQL injection attacks, or do I have some other careless type of security vulnerabilities? And it'll highlight them for you and say, hey, Donovan, just FYI, like you probably want to come and review this piece of code. And it does that for us automatically in the background, just keeping all of our code secure.
Awesome. So sounds like it's something you'd like to avoid. Can we imagine a world where this doesn't happen at all?
Yeah, we're trying to get there because what we're doing with GitHub Advanced Security is we're shifting left all of this technologies because the sooner that you can identify a problem, you can prevent it from even being a problem. And what happens today is that a lot of developers throw all those responsibilities over the wall. It has to be committed first and it's reviewed by someone else. But security is everyone's responsibility. It's not someone else's job, it's everyone's job. And by shifting all of this technology to the left, we're allowing us to start doing these reviews earlier in the process, and it's much cheaper to fix a bug earlier in the process versus having to go back and rework things when you let a security issue escape into production and potentially leaked information, passwords, personal information. So we're trying to shift it left and make sure that as soon as you can possibly identify it, that you do.
Oh, that's great. I love that. To learn more about GitHub Advanced Security, you can learn more about it by following the link on your screen. Donovan, I think that's all the time we have today. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.